Okay, welcome back. My 4th of July present is that I get to be on a hit with Brian Ross, who is our chief investigative correspondent here at the Law&Crime Network, the best in the business. And he knows all things about Eddie Gallagher, the Navy SEAL that was on trial for war crimes, who was found not guilty but for a small minor offense. Brian, tell us about this case. It's fascinating.
Absolutely, Bob. Good afternoon to you. This is a case being filed all the way to the White House. At one point, President Trump suggested he might pardon Eddie Gallagher if he was found guilty. And in the last hour, the president has tweeted his congratulations to Gallagher and his family and said essentially, "I'm glad I could help." We have no idea what it meant, what help he gave, but that's what the president has said. Meantime, Special Operations Chief Gallagher is taking a victory round this morning after what was really a complete and total victory for him and his lawyers, and he appeared on Fox News to thank everyone for their help.
You know, they tried to frame me as a criminal from the get-go, but, you know, we knew the truth the whole time. We knew I was innocent of these charges the whole time, and I overcame it by having my strong wife with me the whole time and my legal team. Next is just spending as much time as I can with my family and friends and all the people that supported me. You know, I plan on just doing what every American should be doing on the 4th of July, barbecuing, having beers, and watching the fireworks.
Sounds like a good plan.
What made this case so unusual was the tight-knit code of silence that maintains inside the Navy SEALs was broken, with 4 members of Gallagher's platoon essentially testifying against him, alleging he had killed one captured teenage ISIS terrorist and randomly shot at innocent civilians. His lawyer, Tim Parlatore, acknowledged it was highly unusual, but told me in an interview before the trial began he planned to take these witnesses apart.
It is unusual, but I think it's something that you're going to be seeing more of as we have the generational gap between these younger SEALs who think that they know better than the older, more experienced leadership. And just because they can't get what they want, they feel like they need to go in and make false complaints.
So you're saying they're lying, actually?
I am. I'm absolutely saying that they're lying. I'm looking forward to cross-examining them. You know, they're supposed to be our nation's elite warriors, and yet I look at NCIS videos of them crying as they're telling stories that then when you pull out the video of the actual event, they're clearly lying about. So I can't wait to get these guys on the stand.
And you're going to take them apart, you say?
Absolutely. Absolutely. We intend to annihilate the government's case.
And he did just that. It took the jury of all members of the service, all combat veterans, just 8 hours to come up with the verdict. The only thing that Gallagher was found guilty of was posing with a corpse, and he held the man's head in his hand and then tweeted, "I did this one with a hunting knife," Bob.
Yeah, Brian, I mean, this was a fascinating case, and that lawyer, boy, he's right out in front. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. But, Brian, can you tell our audience a little bit about this surprise testimony that occurs in court when the government brings on a witness that turns out to be the person he says from the stand, "I'm the reason why one of those victims died," which shocked the prosecution. And I read this right, Brian. His answer as to why he never told anyone before was that he said, "I was never asked." If that's true, what a ball drop by the prosecutors.
Absolutely, and there are a lot of questions about that. In fact, they suggest they might prosecute this Navy medic for perjury, saying he never told this story before. But essentially, he said, "I'm the one who killed this teenage ISIS terrorist because I put my hand or my thumb over his breathing tube and cut off his oxygen and asphyxiate him." Gallagher, he said, had stabbed this person in the neck or the chest several times. Even so, besides that testimony, Gallagher was found not guilty even of attempted murder.
Yeah, Brian, I know that when that testimony came out, too, there was a question of whether the prosecutors would dismiss the charge against Gallagher, but they went on a theory that either don't believe the guy who testified or he still was the main cause of the death. A jury did not buy it, obviously. So what's up for him next? Is he out of the military? Is he dishonorably discharged? What happens here?
Well, underway now as we speak is the sentencing aspect of the trial. The jury actually will decide the sentence. Normally, the charge of posing with a corpse is about a 4-month sentence. He's already spent 7 months in custody, so he's probably his time served. He could still face, though, a dishonorable discharge or some kind of discharge that is not honorable. I would say his career as a Navy SEAL is definitely over. But it does, as you say, also raise questions about the ability of the prosecutors here. The lead prosecutor was kicked off the case by the judge when it turned out that he had put some sort of tracking device on emails sent to Gallagher's lawyer so he could see what they were doing, what they were responding. And because of that, the military judge kicked the lawyer off the case, and the prosecution really was hamstrung throughout.
You know, with this prosecutorial issues that you've got going on here, I'm wondering when anything's going to happen to those folks. You know, we've got to stop having prosecutors feeling they can do whatever they want, whenever they want. And I was one for most of my career, and I ran an agency. And if anyone ever did something like that to communications with a defense lawyer, I would consider bringing charges against them.
Well, Gallagher's lawyer has said just that, Bob. He's demanded there be a full investigation and criminal charges brought against the JAG, the prosecutors, and the military.
You know, another thing, Brian, that I always love when I watch these cases and being a criminal defense lawyer now are those that support you when you're going through the difficult times. Now, he had a rough relationship with many of the people in his platoon, which is probably obvious by the fact that they testified against him. But his wife was there and very vocal throughout all of this. And nothing like having a good woman behind you when you're standing on trial for murder.
Well, he had his wife, he had his brother, he had the President of the United States, and he had Fox News, which made this quite a campaign, which presumably is where President Trump first became aware of the case.
Brian, last question for you real quick. What do you think the odds are that, I think the phrase used by the lawyer, if a pardon drops out of the sky with regard to the one charge he was convicted of, doesn't this make it easier for the president to pardon him for this offense as opposed to obviously murder?
That's a good question. Hard to know with the president what he's going to do. He did ask for the papers be sent from the pardon office to the White House. No action yet. Whether this will be seen as some sort of compromise, justice served, we'll have to find out.
Brian, are you more of a hamburger guy or a hot dog guy?
I'm more of a hot dog guy.
Okay, I like them both. Anyway, Brian Ross, thank you so much. As always, have a great holiday. It was great being on with you, my friend. Okay, guys. Brian Ross, he's the best. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with more Law&Crime. Hey, get in the chat room. What do you like better, the hamburgers or the hot dogs, or like me, both? We'll be right back.